Hello, it's Philippa from Chris and Philly Functional Medicine here, and I love helping moms and parents who are feeling really busy and burnt out become present, healthy, and connected to themselves and to those that they love most. And today I wanted to talk about relationships and how our physical health can really affect our relationships for the good or for the worse. So you've probably heard it before, but I'll say it again. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So if your tank is feeling pretty empty, you're likely feeling pretty physically exhausted, fatigued, mentally crabby, and probably emotionally torn. And for those people out there who are currently struggling with lockdown and restrictions, or even for people who are not in that space, but we're all being affected by the current pandemic, and you might feel like you're in a state of fear or stress. Lots of stuff going on with, should I vaccine, should I not, pro-choice, all that sort of stuff is super stressful for a lot of people. Some people are even potentially losing their jobs around it. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment, and it's really affecting mums and parents. It's affecting everybody, but then we're also trying to, still continue on being a parent. So most people we work with are parents, and that's why I'm talking about parents today, and ask them what is the most important thing in their life, and they will likely say their kids. But when you're so physically feeling so damn burnt out, it makes it really hard to show up as the best mom or the best dad that you can be. And so in order to heal from body burnout and to become the best parent that you can be, even during this crazy pandemic time, you have to start with yourself first. You have to start with your relationship with yourself. So there's a little story about a gingerbread mum. Yes, this mum is made from a gingerbread. And this mum lived out in the forest with her gingerbread son. And they were alone and cold and hungry. And every day the son whimpered, "Mummy, I'm so hungry." So the gingerbread mum took a piece of her foot and she fed it to her son. The next day, I've actually got my little daughter down here, so she's like, really excited about this story I'm telling. And then the next day, her gingerbread son said again, "Mummy, I'm so hungry." And so the mother took a piece of her leg and she fed it to her son. And this went on day after day, the mother feeding herself to her son until all that was left of the mother was her heart. And the son said, "Mummy, I'm hungry." And the mother took the last piece of her heart. She took her heart and she fed it to her son. The mother had broken bits of herself off to feed to her child. And in the end, this mother fed herself out of existence. Can any other mum relate to this? Do you constantly feel like you're giving so much of yourself to others that you are feeding yourself out of existence? Do you feel like you're doing everything for everyone else and you're left with the scraps? Why is this so common? Because it really is common. I mean, we work with a lot of mums, a lot of them, majority of them feeling like this. If we look back in time, and how we have evolved, you will see that we have evolved in tribes or close-knit family and community groups. And over time, we have been programmed to care and look after others, which is fine, and it's a wonderful attribute to have. But when it goes to the extreme and you don't look after yourself, this can become a problem. So let's be clear here. Genuine relationships with others depend first on a healthy relationship with yourself. And that may sound harsh and potentially even false. A lot of moms will start thinking, well, I'm a good mother, aren't I? And a good wife or partner. If I put my kids and my hubby first, that makes me a good mum. But if you think hard enough about it, if you struggle with self-love and with guilt and with shame and with self-sabotaging, can you ever truly show up as the best parent and partner that you can be? So the consequences of putting others first are many. When you don't love yourself enough to care for yourself, it will eventually lead to burnout. physical, emotional, mental, even spiritual burnout. And not only will your body physically start breaking down, but you'll likely feel overwhelmed and frustrated and potentially even start losing passion and joy in your family life and even professionally. So then can come the dragon mum or the zombie mum or the martyr mum, where you're either crabby and irritable and snappy, or you're so flat and fatigued and apathetic that you zombie your way through life. And a lot of this is done because you are feeling or being the martyr mum, doing everything for everyone else and leaving the tiny bit of your heart left to beat out in the wilderness. So in this environment, contention will likely arise within your family. It'll also possibly, cause issues in your business and work life as well. So your relationships can only be as healthy as you are. Remember that. You cannot give to others to your full potential if you're feeling swamped by stress and overwhelm or depleted by fatigue and body pain. And data actually backs this up by showing that an accumulation of everyday stresses and burnout is a central trigger for divorce. It can also cause a parent to feel that they are not doing a good enough job at parenting. And even from a professional aspect, research shows that 1/4 of burnout parents have lost joy in their work and those they serve due to the stress of trying to juggle business and family. And, they're even thinking about reducing work hours or stopping work completely. This is what research shows. So when we think back centuries before us, even just 100 years ago, family and community connections appeared so much stronger than what they are now. Ancient cultures lived in close-knit tribes, like I mentioned before. Literally, we were living in close-knit tribes for the survival of our species. And we've evolved to have strong family connections and to have close-knit tribes. It is a part of our DNA, yet our modern world has changed dramatically. And not only can we travel more easily and we're becoming more separated from our original tribe, but we also live in the age of technology. So while technology is great and has and it's meant that we can connect with other people from the other side of the globe literally within milliseconds, it's also created a lot of physical isolation and disconnection and loneliness and very shallow virtual relationships. And this is backed up by research. Another study showed that children are more negative and less resilient, angry and lonely if they have a parent who is constantly on their smartphone. So here's another way that technology is kind of like affecting our relationships and also our physical burnout. Ask any parent and most will say that family is the most important thing to them. Yet many parents' actions don't really show this. They're constantly being distracted by technology or business endeavors and work. So I believe that you can improve your health, or when you improve your health, you can improve your relationships. And that is what we're trying to do here at Chris and Philly Functional Medicine, also with our Power Parent Project, healing the parent so that they can show up as a better human being for those that they love. So as you prioritize yourself and you start feeling physically better, and as you work on your body and your mind and your environment, it is quite common for our relationships with our families and with others around you. It's quite common to see those relationships grow stronger. It is likely that you will feel more love and you'll be able to give more love and you'll be able to grow in love with your family and also, reconnect with your passions, your professional passions and, your purpose in this world again. And I've seen that time and time again as people get healthier, they get happier, they're a nicer person to be around and they have more control and more centered within themselves. So that helps them to improve their relationships. And often this happens naturally, but sometimes if it's been like years of feeling very disconnected and angry or apathetic towards others, it will require some extra internal work to learn to love yourself again so you can show up as the best parent and the best boss or colleague and the best human being that you want to be. So there are many ways you can open up these doors again. We like to work through specific personality tests with our clients, which relate to how they interact with others. We really like the 5 love languages and also Gretchen Rubin's the 4 tendencies. And if you go to the blog post that's connected to this video, you'll actually find those what's the word, links to be able to do those quizzes. I love them. Sit down and do them with your kids and your partner and find out a bit more about how you can show more love to them in a way that they will respond to. It's also really important to learn to communicate with people better and to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And carving out quality time is also so important, and it's often very neglected when you're trying to juggle all the things. So things like date nights and holding family home evenings or family activities, scheduling holidays, also important. As I've mentioned before in many videos and blog posts, but I feel like my message is my message, and it is why I'm so passionate about what I do now, because I had a really quite a traumatic story, really. So after the birth of our first baby, my health really took a nosedive. Physically, I was feeling crap, and this really started affecting my relationships with Chris and our kids. And I felt so terrible that there was very little intimacy in our marriage. Like, I couldn't even be bothered expending energy to do things in bed with him when I literally just felt so gross and depleted. And this over time brought a big wedge between Chris and I. Our conversations, if we actually talked at all, was either about the kids or finances, which always ended in an argument. And our relationship was really stagnant and robotic and frigid. It wasn't the relationship that we had pre-kids. So Chris started staying at work until late at night. He did not want to come home. He told me this later on, not at the time, but he didn't want to come home to a crazy wife. And of course, this then got my already anxious, overthinking mind to conjure up all sorts of imaginary scenarios of him cheating on me or, doing something like that, which was not true. And this combination of anxiety and suspiciousness, as well as our marriage, like we were walking on eggshells, it really was deadly. And I started actually exhibiting some OCD tendencies, especially with my thought patterns and also like physically. So I physically felt like I had to obsessively check over every message and every email and every text that Chris got, so I knew where he was at all times and who he was talking to. And this really was making me sick. It literally drove me to the point where I was driving myself physically and mentally crazy. I had also become what I've called before the dragon mom, screaming and snapping at my children all the time, and later on rolling up in a ball of guilt, crying and shaking. So look, while I was definitely feeling physically crappy and burnt out, and while I was struggling with my mental health, and while it was actually starting to affect my work life and just my sense of happiness, it was our family. It was my deep pain and my deep fear that we would either split up or we'd live in hate of each other or our kids would become dysfunctional. These deep fears were what really caused me to seek out to heal my body with functional medicine. And what I did saved me, and it saved us. It saved our family, like it really did. And I'm not being over melodramatic about this. It was literally life-changing. So if you're feeling like you two are suffering with a body that is failing you and it's affecting not just your health, but also your relationships and, maybe even your career and your quality of life, you do not have to live like this any longer. Like, it literally makes me sick to my stomach that there are people out there living like this. And I'd love to invite you to take our new test. So we've created this really cool, it's called the Ending Body Burnout Scorecard. And the scorecard tests you on different body symptoms that relate to body burnout. So you can kind of see where you sit. Is it mild? Is it severe? How much is it affecting you? And also in the scorecard, we can work out what areas are contributing to your body breakdown based on the questions that you respond to and the score at the end. So if you'd like to take that, I'm going to pop the link down. You just have to press on the link and you can do the Ending Body Burnout Scorecard. awesome test to do every quarter. We'll start doing this with our clients so that we can actually assess their progress as well. So regardless of whether you're working with us or not, use this test to work out how if what you're doing is helping your health, and also if you're ticking the boxes of all the things that you need to do in order to heal your body and also end your burnout for good. All right, see ya.